Now, at this meeting today, though, I really had two topics that I want to talk about. I want to talk about the goals of the strategic plan, mainly because I want you to see what we think underpins these goals. And why are these 6 goals are going to be important? And then I want to talk about the grand challenges, which is really why we're here, and it's the theme of the whole meeting. The plenaries and the forum are all about the grand challenges. So these are the 6 goals, and I want to speak a little bit about all 6 goals very briefly. You can see the membership representation is the first one, and basically, on each of these goals, the strategic plan essentially recommends what to do. It has an action plan to support each goal. It establishes metrics and milestones for the progress against them. And of course, while we may not complete, of course, all these goals in a 5-year period, this is a 5-year plan, we're going to make progress on all of them because they basically have our attention. So the first goal is this membership representation, increase the representation of business, female, younger, foreign, underrepresented minority members. And this goal really encapsulates a number of really serious demographic issues facing the National Academy of Engineering. One is to ensure the practice of engineering voice remains primary in NAE's advice to government. The Academy was created 50 years ago principally to ensure this voice. Now, at the founding of the NAE, about 70% of its members were in the business of engineering. But that percentage decreased to 37% today, just very slowly over time. And actually, it will continue to decline unless we do something about it, because the business members tend to be more in the older member population rather than the younger member population. In short, more are leaving the Academy than are entering the Academy. Our recognition of this problem actually has been long-standing, but so too has our ineffectiveness in dealing with it, as you can tell of this steady decline. So now we must address this business representation with the new members before the business representation drops below some sort of critical threshold where it cannot be recovered. So the peer committees and the Committee on Membership have taken on this charge beginning in 2016 election cycle, and from my understanding, they've done it with enthusiasm and commitment and just heartwarming commitment to this issue. So my applause goes out to the peer committees and the Committee on Membership for what they've done already in 2016. This is really a tremendous effort. Now, the fractions of female and underrepresented minorities among our newest members also remains too small, despite our methods of trying to incentivize their membership. So the Committee on Membership Policy Committee and the Committee on Membership will continue their efforts to propose policies and implementations that will rebalance their populations as well. And also, of course, our representation of foreign members is increasing. We increase the number of foreign members. And in fact, in this population of nominations, over 10% of the foreign member nominations this year, these are nominations, were from countries that have never had a National Academy of Engineering foreign member before. So that is really a very positive step as well. Now, at the moment, we have no new policy proposed yet to increase the number of younger members, but that has not lost our attention. It's just 1 year into this, we have a lot of things going on, so but that's still an important issue. Everyone wants to see younger members increase their participation in the Academy. The second goal is industry collaboration. Leaders from industry have long been major contributors to the NAE advice to government. Yet, despite this legacy, there's a general agreement that the value of NAE to industry is not high enough. That doesn't apply to all industry. It's kind of a blanket statement, so it's obviously up and down here and there. But nonetheless, it's not what it was earlier. And this link of NAE to industry has historically come through NAE business members who are highly placed in their companies and industry sectors. They inspired and they often even nominated and recruited colleagues and companies to participate with the NAE. So those links, like the number of business members, are not what they were earlier as well. So you might say goals 1 and 2 are related. So I think both of them will go hand in hand, I believe. So, but in addition, we must present and communicate the value of NAE to large and small companies alike, and especially small companies have less contact with us. So meetings and communications with industry leaders will help us reassert our efforts to help them. We'll understand how we can help them and how we can work together. But through these engagements and others with your help, we're going to reconnect to industry. Goal 3 basically is public understanding. Demonstrate to the public how engineering creates a better quality of life. So in the Lincoln-Douglas debate, Abraham Lincoln said, "Public sentiment is everything. With public sentiment, nothing can fail. Without it, nothing can succeed." Now, because every public opinion poll verifies that the public has no correct sentiment about engineering, today President Lincoln might ask, how can engineering succeed? Good question, actually. Communication is both the problem and the solution. The problem is that what is communicated to the public about engineering is often wrong by omission or misrepresentation. For instance, take 3 of the greatest engineering feats of this century so far: the Mars and the Pluto missions and the Large Hadron Collider. All publicity about them is essentially silent on engineering, except, of course, when things go wrong. So how many people do you know who were inspired to engineering because of the moon mission or space? It was an electric call to service. It changed engineering to this day. So is it not time actually also to hit the replace key when the word technology is used to represent engineering? Technology is an outcome. It's not engineering. It's not creating solutions to problems of people in society. If the public hears nothing about engineering, how can it ever develop a positive public sentiment? To state what is the obvious, I believe that it's my responsibility to you, the public, and the nation, for that matter, that it mandates that I advocate for the correct use of the word engineering. I think it's not a second-order issue. Goal 4, ensuring engineering talent. So it's basically promote and inspire highly competitive engineering talent in the U.S. workforce. Talent is a coin in the global realm. Every country, every company, every organization is seeking talent in engineering. 9 of the top 10 highest paid mid-career salary positions in the United States are in engineering. 9 of the top 10. 10 of the top 10 highest early career salaries in the United States in engineering are all in engineering. So everybody wants engineers. So ensuring a globally competitive engineering workforce is mandatory for the future of our nation, if not all nations for that matter, or most nations. The NAE seems to be a very good resource for educators, employers, professional societies, and government as they carry out their critical roles to educate, train, employ, and develop the engineering workforce. We also support K-12 and out-of-school efforts to expose students to engineering concepts, practices, and habits of mind. So the talent question is a key one for us going forward. Goal 5, global engagement. Engage globally in support of national interests. Globalization is the defining construct of the 21st century innovation environment. This environment utilizes partnerships to assemble talent and facilities to accelerate desired outcomes with our products, research, discoveries, whatever, while adapting to a constantly changing global environment. Change is accelerating, and we are reminded virtually daily that any innovation or information advantages we possess cannot be protected. We live in a use it or lose it world, that is, where the need is to use it quickly if we want to benefit from it. So basically, support of the U.S. national interest in this global environment requires the NAE to accept leadership and engage with these international academies and organizations on appropriate issues, and this is underway. And goal number 6, effective advising. Basically, together with the National Academy of Sciences and the National Academy of Medicine, enhance effective advice to the nation on technological and societal challenges. Now, though there's nothing in our charter that says that the academies stipulates how advice will be rendered to government, it is provided currently through mechanisms of our own creation, studies, roundtables, workshops, principally. These current methods actually are criticized sufficiently to suggest that other means of providing advice should be explored. You know, increasing the effectiveness of our advice is a goal, for instance, could be through a stronger connection between academies and policymakers, a more assertive commitment to engaging sponsors and stakeholders following completion of studies. Engagement of the NAE membership in the dissemination of advice may lead to a more effective advising. All will be explored. So sort of identifying issues really of critical engineering importance by enlisting member input and developing proposals to fund them also is another mechanism of increasing our effectiveness of our advice. So these are the 6 goals, and they're explored in great detail, as I said, with benchmarks and also a timescale with them as well on the web for members. Now, we'll be talking about these constantly because we're essentially building our programs around these goals. Now, the grand challenges for engineering. This basically is the theme of this meeting, and it really is a highlight of our global engagement goal. The topic has been picking up speed since the grand challenges were introduced in 2008. For a quick history, the grand challenges for engineering were proposed by a committee of 18 distinguished engineers, scientists, entrepreneurs, and visionaries who set out to develop the most critical yet tractable engineering system challenges that must be tackled successfully in this century for continuation of life on the planet as we know it. That's the charge for continuation of the life on the planet as we know it. The committee received thousands of inputs worldwide on the challenges. More than 50 subject matter experts reviewed the report, ranking it among the most reviewed academy studies in history. A list of 14 challenges for engineering was published in 2008. NSF funded the study, but the challenges were not ranked in importance or in the likelihood of their solution. No implementation plan or direction towards resolution was offered. No follow-up support financially was offered by anyone. In short, the grand challenges for engineering that were needed to save the planet for the people and society in this century kicked off from a standing start. The challenges were grand in more ways than 14. While engineering has long gravitated to great human needs, navigating the oceans, getting to the moon and back, Earth exploration, national security, industrial and agricultural revolutions, communications, transportation, just to name a few. But to my knowledge, this is the first time in history that a committee has voluntarily set out challenges for survival of the planet and had them picked up at the grassroots level and finds them accelerating in interest 7 years later. It really is a phenomenon. A plan to prepare students for careers devoted to the challenges was put forward by Thomas Katsileos, the then Dean of Engineering at Duke, Richard Miller, President of Olin College, and Yanis Yortsos, Dean of Engineering at USC. Former President Chuck Vest was also very enthusiastic about the grand challenges and a supporter of this initiative from the start. Their Grand Challenges Scholars Program was the first grassroots organizational effort to prepare talent and present a vision directed to achieving solutions to the grand challenges on a global scale. You will hear about this from Tom Katsileos during his plenary remarks today. You can consider this just a teaser for his talk. The second grassroots organizational effort was the Global Grand Challenges Summit, first held in London in March 2013, that was co-sponsored by the Royal Academy of Engineering, the Chinese Academy of Engineering, and the U.S. National Academy of Engineering. In their first joint effort, the 3 academies shined a global spotlight on the challenges. This year, the second Global Grand Challenges Summit was held in Beijing over September 13 to 16, with over 800 attendees, including large numbers of students and a university student competition. The summit topics were sustainability, urban infrastructure, health, joy of living, energy, education, security, resilience. Both the Grand Challenge for Engineering summits were generously supported by Lockheed Martin, by the way. They would have come forward without it. At the Beijing summit, the 3 academies and First Robotics, founded by Dean Kamen 25 years ago, announced a collaboration to begin at the 2017 third Global Grand Challenge Summit that will be hosted by the NAE in the United States. Currently, First Robotics reaches hundreds of thousands of 6 to 18-year-old students annually through its nearly 50,000 robotics competitions held in 83 countries to inspire the students' interest in science and engineering. 6 to 18-year-olds. In this new collaboration, First with participation of the academies, will select Grand Challenge competition goals for its first robotics championship competition, a 3-day event that will be scheduled immediately following the 3rd Global Grand Challenge Summit, probably here in Washington. In this way, the Grand Challenges for Engineering will be exposed to literally millions of new people, students, parents, sponsors, governments, schools, mentors, corporations, including in particular the young people we do not reach currently, but we need to inspire to conquer these challenges. This moves the Grand Challenges for Engineering to the youth globally that really need to be inspired by them. The accelerating momentum of the Grand Challenges for Engineering is more akin to an international movement than it is a project. You know, movements are driven by ideas, basically, not by money or not by task. They're concepts, ideas. This is a good time really for introspection and reflection of the Grand Challenges for Engineering. How are they doing? What else should we be doing? Have changing global circumstances call for rethinking the challenges or how we're going about them? Hence, the theme for this meeting. What should we be doing? Should we be doing for the next stage? Now, today we're going to be treated with 3 extraordinary plenary presentations. Dr. Robert Langer of MIT, who will speak on his renowned lifelong work on the grand challenges, which is engineering better medicines, one of those grand challenges. And then later this month, Dr. Langer Queen Elizabeth actually will personally present Dr. Langer the 2015 Queen Elizabeth Prize for Engineering at Buckingham Palace for his work. And Ms. Dawn C. Myrick, Deputy Director of CIA for Science and Technology, and a specialist on cybersecurity, will speak on the grand challenge, Secure Cyberspace, a topic on everyone's mind, to say the least. Is it possible? And then Tom Katsilas will present a plenary lecture on the Grand Challenge Scholars Program designed to prepare students for careers devoted to the Grand Challenge-like problems. Then on Monday, tomorrow's morning's panel, from 9:30 to 12:30, we are fortunate to have 7 members of the original 2008 Grand Challenge for Engineering committee members here for this panel that will be moderated by Dan Vergano from BuzzFeed News. I thank them all in advance for coming literally from around the world to participate in this panel. Their discussion of the challenges will be wide-ranging, retrospective, prospective, and put ideas on the table for reflection and stimulate your questions. What should be the next steps? This may be the first time that a panel has put forward a set of recommendations for the planet and then 7 years later have its recommendations propelling global movements that are impacting engineering education and the way people are thinking about the future and the role of engineering in it. Everywhere you turn these days, it's grand challenges for this and grand challenges for that. This is really a remarkable circumstances. We also have, some of you may be aware from last year, we had a video competition. And this year we extended the video competition because of the success last year. And this was extended with a generous sponsorship of ExxonMobil Foundation and its president, Susan McCarran, who unfortunately can't be with us today. But we extended this competition for 2015, where the videos highlight engineering contributions to solutions of the grand challenges. These are 1 to 2 minute winning videos on the various contestant categories. They'll be interspersed through the program today with the grand prize winning video being shown at the end of the day, when the category winners will all receive their prizes. I'm sure you will enjoy these. So as a concluding remark, I do hope you enjoyed this annual meeting and the program inspires some takeaway thoughts about our Academy goals and the grand challenges and its imperative. For our section attendees, I hope that you and your colleagues might take just a couple of minutes in your section meetings to consider whether and how you might wish to participate in the kind of growing Grand Challenge initiative, or if you do, just like to hear about it. Your thoughts can range freely, possibly serving as robotics competition service in some way, mentoring students or teams, technical international exchanges with other academies, research, and so forth. I thank you for helping us gauge your possible interest in this kind of grand challenge participation. There is really much to do. And I thank very much the section chairs for providing us with your sense of the section discussion at the end of it. And I also apologize for me busting into your sections this way when you've got so many things already put together. I always look forward to our work together and to make our academy as kind of impacting, fulfilling, and, yes, of course, as fun as possible. And finally, in closing, I offer the counsel attributed to Abraham Lincoln, among many others, and that is the best way to predict the future is to create it, and so engineering will, as it always has. Thank you very much.